So that is the sort of speciality of our small family, but special family, because actually we've got the connection of, super wonderful masters, that of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Sridharma, Srila Govinda Maharaj, in simple names in the modern world. And there are unlimited numbers of yoga studios and advocates of eating only this kind of food, doing this kind of exercise, doing these things for how to meditate in this way or meditate in that way. So many advocates of different processes, all with no doubt the good intention to try to wake us up to increase our potential, or rather to reveal our potential, that we are not just working machines and work, come home, watch TV, sleep, eat, work, come home, watch TV and sleep. But there's more within us. But there are so many different departments are all trying to say, self-improvement, whatever it may be. But if we are fortunate, really, then we can come in touch with the teachings of those who live that life, those who know fully what is the eternal life, not just this body's life, which, as the world knows, is very vulnerable and can go even whether you're young or whether you're old at any time. So this life, it is valuable, it is the human life, and now we have an opportunity to hear some good things. Now, today is in the America side, it's still evening, your side of the world, and yes, that's correct. Sorry. And what I want to say, it is the day and the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left to take sannyas. So those of you who don't know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then I also don't know him as such, but we know about him. That is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a minimum, as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, a great reformer from the 19th century, essentially the great reformer of Krishna consciousness, and basically great reformer of spiritual consciousness, which means God consciousness. And at the beginning of the whole conversation, everything is that sooner or later we have to accept that everything's created and that there is God. And not only that there is God, but he's amazing. Everything, whether you analyze, just a tiny piece of a stone or a grain of sand, or you analyze something big like the universe, everywhere we see marvel, we see marvelous things taking place. So who is behind all of this? We have to one day or another agree that there's an origin of an origin of an origin. We should search that out, and we all know that that origin is all good. He is our guardian. So Devapriya Devidasi from California, welcome, and Leelavati from Thailand and China and the Himalayas and other places, welcome. And who else joined us? Brajamohini Devidasi joined us also. Oh, from Texas, from the snow. She joined us from the snow. So welcome to one and all. So today is Mahaprabhu's Sannyas Day, this Gauranga Sundar, you can say great reformer from 500 years ago. Then he's giving us Krishna consciousness. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has revealed in the modern time the scriptures, the books which are the key to our understanding, both who we are, who is God, our relationship with him. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given so much stress to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has given us the process to make our life successful, to engage in Bhakti Yoga, which is a technical name, but because it has yoga in it, people think, oh, yoga, yes, very good. Yes, but it is the yoga. Out of so many kinds of yoga, it's the yoga to connect us with the Lord through service. Well, mind and body, words, we need to be engaged in remembering the Lord and not forgetting him and learning about him. What does he do? What does he look like? What are his characteristics? And my relation with him is not that he is my servant and I am the center of the universe, but interestingly, he's rather big and clever and he's the master. I am his servant and he's the center of all activity. So until we can start our search for reality, the origin, search for the origin of consciousness, where life has come from, search for if you can consider our grandfather and our home, then our life just for eating, sleeping, family life, defending our property, etc., is just otherwise very similar to that of the animals, the birds, the fishes, just a different kind of body. But our human body, it is for waking up love of God. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gauranga, today is the day he went to take sannyas. He left from Navadip. So first of all, we're a few minutes in. I think whoever's joined, we're here together, and maybe one or two will join shortly, but our obeisances to all of the devotees means our obeisances, our respects to all the devotees. With our traditional Sanskrit verse, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar, our masters, Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Srila Bhakti Rakkhak Sridhar Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai, and Jai Grandfather Guru, Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai, and our whole line of gurus, teachers, Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai. And Rupanuga Prabhu joined us. And now we can see Jayadev. Is that Jayadev? You're looking well wrapped up, and Chintamani dancing in their hearts as always, dancing with their bodies when they can, with their hearts always. And the nearest person to India with us just now, we don't have somebody directly in India. Maybe we will presently. But Leelavati is close to India, and we can ask her. It looks warm, but I can say one thing. I remember this day in being in Navadip in India, I mean, many years, this day, when you wake up in the morning, it strikes you as, oh, this is the coldest day of the winter. This in Navadip would year by year, you'd feel this. And then you realize, then you also realize, or you learn, or today is the day that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he swam across the Ganges and then went by foot, running indeed, to Katwa, which is 40 kilometers distant from Navadip. So, Leelavati, what's the temperature like? Is it very cold? Not.
Wow, Maharaj, very miracle way. It's like we have very hot weather before yesterday. And at night, because now we have this Govinda Kund, at night I can hear the frog like wah, wah, from the Govinda Kund very clearly, very loudly. And I think what's happened? It's winter, but it's like summertime. But after that night, like the day, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu leave Kitva, that day coming, and our weather get like colder and colder. So yesterday and today is like cold, especially in the morning and at night.
Okay. Well, there we are. The seasons are changing. And you're close to Navadip. Navadip still might be cold. We do not know. But anyhow, it's a middle of winter. January in Navadip is the coldest month. And Thailand, where they are in the north of Thailand, the ashram near Chiang Mai, it quite similar in a way, but not humid, not so humid like Navadip. So we may have expected it to be a little colder there. But anyhow, this is the day that Mahaprabhu went to take sannyas. And many of us may have heard Goswami Maharaj's talk yesterday. Leelavati was there live. I was also there by ears, but not by body. We were hearing. But as always, for the the whole understanding of the background, etc., then to hear from those who really have captured and understand the Siddhantic side of it is always the way to hear, the place to hear the purposes. But the summary of the purpose is Mahaprabhu took sannyas, which means the renounced order of life, leaving his young family, leaving everything, because it was the tradition very much, and still is to some extent, that the sannyasis, they get automatic respect from the public. But the students and the nature of the students in Bengal, Gurudev, he would say, always the students in Bengal, they want to make revolt. So, maybe it's all over the world when the students come together, they want to make a revolt. But we know Bengal, when you get a group of the Bengalis together, they can be quite revolting. If that's they can be revolting a lot, put it this way. So anyhow, the students were all making like a revolt against Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu was thinking how, so this is his external reason. Then this is that Mahaprabhu was thinking how that I can help them when they are coming to basically make offense to me, to attack me verbally, etc., etc. They're making offense to me, but I've come with the medicine to cure them. So how can I save them from going further and further into the illusory world? And then he made that decision, I'll take sannyas. And so he left from Navadip with telling only maybe 5 people that he was going to go. And then he went to Katwa, and this way he started his next Leela, means the next period of his pastimes, which means the early part, the Adi Leela, is basically when he's young, growing up, youth, student, young and family, starting into his married life, and then he becomes a teacher, and then this period of time comes when he takes sannyas, and when he takes sannyas, from now onwards until he stays only in one place, which is Puri, after some years, then this is known as the Madhya Leela, the middle pastimes. And then the Antya Leela is when Mahaprabhu, he's essentially finished his traveling, and he's staying in one place, and he's relishing love of God with his close circle of associates. And this is the Antya Leela, which takes place in Puri. Now, Navadip is closely associated with Puri even before Mahaprabhu. Devotees would go for the Rath Yatra festival each year. And when Mahaprabhu took sannyas, then in consultation with the devotees and by the request of his mother, his very dear mother, then he made Puri his base, his shelter, because even though it is perhaps, guessing, it's around 700 kilometers, we can say, approximately from Navadip to Puri, but there was connection, even without internet, there was connection with the devotees going up and down each year, and not only for the Jagannath Rath Yatra, but it was a traditional place. The sadhus, the devotees, would go to Puri because it was one of the holy places connected with Mahaprabhu, with Navadip Dham and the Vaishnavas. 3 places, Navadip Dham, Jagannath Puri in Orissa, and Vrindavan, 3 rooms of the same house. We've heard this expression. So today is this day, and in Navadip, we were with Guru Maharaj. We were in the temple with Srila Sridhar Maharaj during this time, in different years, during this time of the sannyas, and also with Gurudev on many years. We're with him in Navadip. But I can say, especially about Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, that really he withdrew during these 3 days. after Mahaprabhu's leaving, going to Katwa, negotiating with Keshava Bharati, as it were, doing negotiation that he will receive sannyas from him. And then after that, after receiving sannyas, his roaming in Rara Desh. I know in the books you'll see it's spelled Radha, so devotees tend to say Radha Desh. But if you look a bit more, it's got a dot under the D, and that dot under the D in the middle of a word becomes Ara. It's one of the kinds of D, which is like an R, is off the top of the thing called palatal, Rara Desh. So he roamed in that area and then came to Advaita Acharya's house by the tricks of Nityananda Prabhu. So these 3 days, when Mahaprabhu Gauranga Sundar left from Navadip, then Srila Guru Maharaj, he would be very withdrawn and very meditative at this time. And he would give darshan, maybe not each of the mornings, but he did give darshan. I've been with Guru Maharaj when he's been speaking like very softly and very sort of internally sharing something of Mahaprabhu's Leela and his pastimes at this time. And in the mat, we also would take just simply watery dal with maybe 1 potato or maybe half a potato, watery dal with a potato inside and rice. That was the meal for 3 days in Navadip. And then back to normal. When he's come to the house of Advaita Acharya, then they arrange, the devotees arrange nice feeding food for him. And then the devotees also break their fast, and then changes the chapter from the separation part, like the shock of the separation, to the Sankirtan and grand festival taking place for several days in Advaita Acharya's house in Shantipur. And Shantipur, that is also a place between Navadip and Calcutta, where we have passed through many times, maybe, well, probably indeed, hundreds of times have passed through Shantipur. And many of those times with Srila Govinda Maharaj in the car. And whenever we go past Advaita Acharya's house, which is now there is a temple there, but it is in honor of Advaita Acharya, Gurudev would always give his obeisances as we pass by. And there was a small sign in Bengali. So Chinmoy Dev Prabhu knows, and 1 or 2 of you know, that when we would go to Calcutta by car, for many years, you have to drive through Shantipur, it's just narrow streets, and with the increase in the number of vehicles, it was a little troublesome to drive through Shantipur town, both for the drivers of the vehicles as well as for the people who reside there. But then they made a bypass, and on the bypass, which goes around the town, it passes through mango fields, mango orchards, and nice mango, like extensive mango orchards, not just, here's a mango orchard with a few mangoes. And then but driving with Gurudev, this new route going around Shantipur, and Gurudev was saying that, this is Advaita Acharya's mango orchard. And then me being me, I said, really? Something like this. And Guru Maharaj said, yes, this is Advaita Acharya's mango orchard. He said Advaita Acharya was wealthy. And how was he wealthy? Through land and through the mangoes. So we passed through this mango orchard, but there was a signboard on the side of the road when you're going from Navadip to Calcutta. On the right side, there's just it's a low sign. It's not like a big signboard, but a low sign, just simply saying, maybe, I don't know, Advaita Acharya Bari, which means Advaita Acharya's house, something like that. Anyhow, one day, myself and the driver, we were going, and his name was Jayadev, by the way, Jayadev Prabhu, his name was Jayadev. We are going to Navadip in the car, and then we've seen this sign many times, and there's only he and I in the car, and we just looked at each other and thought, should we go in and take a look, just as we're passing by? So anyway, we went in, we weren't influencing anybody, we just were a little bit inquisitive to see what is there. And it was in the mango orchard. You drive into the mango orchard, not on any road, just on a bit of a track. And then there was this beautiful compound. How, in India, they often have a compound, and then inside the compound would be a temple and a house and things. And it was very sweet, clean, humble, but clean and humble, very nice. And we went in, and anyway, I took some photos, and then we went to Navadip. Then when I came back to Calcutta, at a suitable time, not wanting to get into too much trouble, I asked Gurudev, we went in to that place which had the sign, and I showed him the photo. I said, Gurudev, is this really the place where Mahaprabhu went to after taking sannyas and they had that festival? And Gurudev, little relieved to know, he happily saw the photos and said, yes, this is the place. So, and why I say that, because we don't go anywhere without Gurudev's permission. We're not going anywhere just to go like sightseeing or sightseeing, but we also don't know in this age, without the confirmation of Gurudev or earlier Guru Maharaj, we don't know what is real. People put up signs and make places in order to get donations, in order to make a business, etc., out of people's simplicity. So we don't know whether it's real or not, but confirmed with Gurudev, and Gurudev was happy to see the pictures and said, yes, this is the place. So,
but do you have these photos still?
Well, Kalachan Prabhu, I shall look. How about that? I expect they're somewhere. If I posted them on the web at that time, they're probably there on scsmat.com somewhere. I can do a Google search.
You have homework, Maharaj.
But some homework, yes, some homework. We're always telling each other when we can't answer a question, homework. Okay, but to do homework, I have to go back to my pencil and paper. Okay, find Advaita Bari pics for Kalachand, etc. Or we should say Kalachand Adi, BBBC Bhakta Vrinda. Kalachand and all of the back to basic section. I will look for those pictures. I have those pictures here, yes, but not anywhere else. And one other day, I think I only went back there one other time. And the second time, we got the car stuck in the mud, which does happen. So it's not an easy road to go in on. So if you are passing by, maybe choose a dry day when the ground has dried out when you go inside. Anyway, these are some like personal things from being there in Navadip and in India. And these are some of like the personal reflections. But the whole relevance of this is that the basis, the foundation of our spiritual life, of our journey, of actually getting like authoritative, what to do, what not to do, what is the goal of life, where are we and how to go. What is the goal of life, the destination? Where are we now, our situation, and how to go from here to there. All of this, the foundation of that in this age for the last 500 years, you can say, has been given to us very clearly by Gauranga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, from 500 years ago in India, and a big step in his Leela, a big junction in his Leela is this pastime of receiving sannyas, taking sannyas, leaving his home, for the purpose of giving mercy to the fallen souls, those who are even against the Lord, those who are envious, whatever it may be. By the chanting of the holy name, Mahaprabhu showed that everybody, everywhere, can get the highest goal of life, love of God, and thereby get entrance to the eternal world by chanting the holy names, especially the Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And called the Maha Mantra because Maha, greatest mantra. So these are all important things for us. And then it is from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he showed the necessity for accepting a spiritual master. And even though the scriptures are there, in India they have access to Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad Bhagavatam, the Puranas, and so many scriptures. But still, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's showing it's not just book knowledge. This knowledge is coming from heart to heart, and the original heart from Krishna, through Krishna's flute, the sound vibration, Om, this sound that came through to the ear of Lord Brahma, who created the content of the universe. And this is the process of our devotional life, that we need to refer to the scriptures, and in referring to the scriptures telling us about our connection with the spiritual master, and the connection with the spiritual master in Kali Yuga comes the connection of the holy name, descending from the upper world to this world, and then the cultivation of the holy name in devotional mood with the association of devotees is our very life and soul. And now is the time that our journey of birth and death should be coming to an end. And how do we know that? Because we've come in touch with these teachings. We've come in touch with these teachings. We recognize these teachings. We have a human body, and now we can make course adjustment, adjust the course of our journey of life once we get the good tips, the good advice, in order to use our limited energy and limited life in its proper way to go back home, back to Godhead. So Gauranga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his name before sannyas is different names, but Nimmai Pandit, Nimmai Sundar, Gauranga Sundar, all beautiful names of Mahaprabhu when he's in Navadip. And incidentally, this day when Mahaprabhu goes, when Gauranga goes to take sannyas and then gets the name Krishna Chaitanya, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. After his taking sannyas, then at that time his head is shaved, and it's told he had super beautiful hair, his long, super beautiful hair. He's extremely handsome, the prime of life, 24 years old, all of these things. And when his head was shaved, it was just too much for everybody. It was like a great shock to the whole world that this handsome young man, so educated, so benevolent, everything else, he's left his family, he's left his home where everybody except the student community and so much appreciated him and loved him, and he's gone to take the renounced order of life. And even though then he's essentially a shaved up, renounced sannyasi, but the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, his followers, his devotees, all the Navadip section, they cannot tolerate to see Mahaprabhu with a shaved head. And so you see that on our altars established by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, you can say Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, but before that, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, but established by our preceptors, our masters from before, on the altars in the temple, you will see that there is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Guru, Gauranga, and in our temple, Gandharva Govinda Sundar, Radha Krishna. But although Mahaprabhu is being shown in his sannyas time, the devotees cannot bear to see him with a shaved head. So you'll always see him with nice hair. And Gurudev points this out too about Jagannath Puri. In Puri, our temple of Nitai, Shishi Nitai Chaitanya Dev. Chaitanya because he's a sannyasi. But he is a sannyasi, but the devotees cannot bear to see him with shaved head. So there also still he's got his flowing locks of hair. And Gurudev pointed this out at the time. By Krishna's grace, we had that service to be there when the deities were installed. And drove Gurudev on a broken car journey, all of these things, stories that you've heard before, most of you. How can it be that it took like 26 hours maybe to drive what should take 8 hours? Because Gurudev says, Nitai Chaitanya Dev were unhappy they did not come in the car, that they went on the train and couldn't see the journey. So we had a very difficult journey from Calcutta to Puri, Jagannath Puri again. But there the deities of Nitai Chaitanya Dev installed. So certainly Mahaprabhu is sannyasi, but with full hair, etc. Hare Krishna. So this is a sannyas day, and anything and everything that helps us to be introduced to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to make and help us understand that this is the age of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We mustn't be stuck like in the school of the Buddhists or the Shankarites or whatever it may be. Yes, Shankaracharya, he was in the world and taught. Yes, Buddha was in the world and taught. Yes, Krishna, Arjuna, Bhagavad Gita was in the world and taught. Vyasadeva in the world and taught. But this is the era of Gauranga, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he taught the essence of what had been given by all of the avatars before, the essential point for us to focus on, to chant the holy names of the Lord, chant the holy names of the Lord, chant the holy names of the Lord. Always remember, always hear, remember, and share the qualities, name, form, pastimes, etc. of the Lord. Hear about him, learn about him, and take shelter of him with some surrender, and surrender to the Lord through his devotees. So today is that Sannyas Day. And tomorrow, I believe, is Lochan Das Thakur's disappearance day. I should just quickly look on the calendar. Appearance or disappearance, perhaps, of Lochan Das Thakur, who is very closely related, or appearance of Lochan Das Thakur. And he gave many bhajans in praise of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. He's a big advocate of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And Lochan Das, he wrote the Chaitanya Mongol, a book called Chaitanya Mongol. And that is a whole book of the descriptions, of many descriptions of the pastimes and life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I haven't read it. I haven't read it actually, and I wouldn't know if somebody asks which version, because there are different translations of these books. I don't know of any recommended version. I'm not even aware of who's translated this book. But we must be cautious about who translated these things. When we must try to find where devotees will recommend us to read. But actually for us, we have Chaitanya Charitamrita, where we've got our recommendations. I mean, we've got our full recommendation. We've got Srila Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita, along with his purports. His purports include Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's purports, his commentaries. So we can worship the Chaitanya Mongol, but we know that there are many treasures there. And he was there at the time, but he didn't go with Mahaprabhu. Lochan did not go with Mahaprabhu to Katwa, but he was there in Navadip during this time. We've heard this from Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna. All right, yes, we're on Zoom. It's not for me just to sit here and talk and talk and talk. But actually, because it's a Sannyas Leela, and we actually, get transported to Navadip quite a bit when we're thinking about this. And, get transported to Navadip, it means the Chaitanya Saraswat Mat of Guru Maharaj, of Gurudev, their affectionate guidance there, and everything, and they're relaying these stories year by year by year. We've been with them on this coldest day of the year, almost unthinkable that you'll swim across the Ganges, which is still big, is still wide in Navadip. And Gurudev said that even now it is less than when he was a boy. So we know that the river is shrinking, except when it's flooded, then it expands, no doubt. But it's a long way to swim. Yes, Praneshri Devidasi, giving
Maharaj,
a high five.
Maharaj, to BBBC.
Oh, have I frozen or you frozen? Praneshri Devi is frozen.
Yes.
Oh, Praneshwari. Praneshri Devi, we lost you there. You froze. We had no sound, but we see you are moving again.
Yes. I have two basic questions. The first one, did Mother Sachi know that he was leaving to take sannyas?
Well, the answer is yes, she did, but I cannot confirm that exactly Mahaprabhu told her or that she'd been told. But inside her, she knew it was going to take place.
And the second question, did he ever came at least once?
Oh, Praneshri, you've frozen again. Oh, Praneshwari. But I can finish your question. Did he ever come at least once back to his home? I'm sure the Praneshwari, I expect Praneshwari was about to say. Oh, Praneshwari. You see, even in high-tech Florida.
Sorry, connection unstable here.
Yeah.
The second question was if he ever went back to Navadip at least once.
Yes. The answer is yes, he did. And he went back to his home, but not inside the fence. There's, whatever compound, not inside the compound. He stayed outside the compound. And he went back after 5 years after taking sannyas. He went back to Navadip. And that time it was his intention, he said, I go to Vrindavan via Navadip. And one more time, I will go there, I will see the Ganges, and I will see my mother. Because he was a very devoted son. And he told his mother also earlier, when after taking sannyas, he said, well, I maybe wasn't in the right frame of mind, whatever the reason, but it's happened, right or wrong, I've taken sannyas. So, then very much the custom, as we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is a one-way ticket, the sannyas step. And he said, right or wrong, here I've taken sannyas, but you will always be in my heart. I mean, I am yours. And it is by her wish, indeed, that Mahaprabhu stayed in Jagannath Puri, made Puri his base after receiving sannyas. So Mahaprabhu, he always indebted to his mother. When he's in Puri, then he would keep his mother informed through the devotees. He sent Damodar Pandit to Navadip from Puri in order to protect his mother. So there's a guardian for his mother and his young wife. Damodar Pandit, very strict and very careful to give protection. And so he's always thinking there, giving his affection there. So after 5 years, it is told that you can go back to your home area. And so he went back to Navadip on his way to Vrindavan. And when he went back, and this is all confirmed from Guru Maharaj, when he went back, he went once to his house, to the compound, and there he stood there, and Vishnupriya and Sachi Devi having darshan of him, and there he left his wooden sandals. He left them there at the gateway, and then after they came and had his darshan last time, then he left his sandals and came away. And Guru Maharaj also tells that those sandals, we asked Guru Maharaj, because when we go on pilgrimage at Gaura Purnima time, we go to what's called Vishnu Bari or Mahaprabhu Bari in Navadip, where the deity, incidentally, the deity that Vishnu Priya had made is there, that same deity. And Guru Maharaj confirmed this is the deity that Vishnu Priya, Mahaprabhu's young wife, had made, and really had made, very carefully it was made, and she worshipped this deity of Mahaprabhu. This is her deity. And there at that temple, the pujaris, they have these old wooden shoes, the all like sadhu slippers, sadhu shoes. And then Guru Maharaj, we asked Guru Maharaj, but Guru Maharaj saying that they say that it is Mahaprabhu's, that those are the same shoes. But Guru Maharaj didn't actually say that, at least not to us, oh, they are definitely those shoes. But he said they are, they say they are, and they are very old shoes, you can see, they're not new. And anyway, we can worship those wooden sandals at least in remembrance of this Leela of Mahaprabhu going back to Navadip on that occasion. And on that occasion, that's when he came to Kulya, to Koladip, the area of our temple. It means that area. And Guru Maharaj was asked on different occasions, and with me there also, but I wasn't one who actually asked him, but I was there, and Guru Maharaj asked, is this place, the temple where we are, is this the place where Mahaprabhu forgave the sinners? And Guru Maharaj said, maybe this place or may not be, but this area, not necessarily the exact location of Chaitanya Saraswat Math, but this whole area is the area that this Leela took place, that Mahaprabhu returned to Navadip. And all of the people of Navadip, they came to him, those who'd made offense to him, since they heard about all his glories of traveling to South India in Puri and so many things, and they all, in separation from the Mahaprabhu, even those who were the students, foolish students, had matured to some degree. Because students do grow up. Any students amongst us? No, you're all grown up. Oh, well, no, Shakira is not a student anymore. But anyway, students do grow up and become, hopefully, a little bit more sensible as they get older. And anyway, so all these students who had made offense to Mahaprabhu, they came to him. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita too, I mean, very touching description of the mood of Mahaprabhu and the mood of the people on his return to Navadip. And he stayed there in Kulya, and in that area performed so many most generous pastimes. As Guru Maharaj said, Mahaprabhu, the most generous form of the Lord, Krishna, overcome with Radharani, his topmost devotees' sentiments, distributing that to everybody, distributing the highest thing, not just some not morphine, what was it? When you to take away the pain, not antiseptic. What is it to take away the pain? They give you
anesthetic.
Anesthetic. Yes, excuse me. Thank you very much. And he's not just giving an anesthetic to remove, the pains of this world or to give us some temporary hope. It's all going to be all right. Oh, don't worry, you're on a ship that's sinking and you're going to drown. Just enjoy yourself in the meantime. He's not giving us this kind of thing. He's giving us the actual solution of the highest quarter, love of God. So this Mahaprabhu, in his most generous of his pastimes, then here in Navadip, in Koladeep, then he distributed to everybody this highest gift. So Navadip as a place is also extremely important place. And as a place for us, also extremely important. It's where that very substance is distributed by Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Śrīman Mahāprabhu, Srila Govinda Maharaj, Srila Gurudev. They have distributed from Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat in Koladeep this gift of Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Saraswat Mat is Guru Maharaj and Gurudev forever. This is our home, our safe shelter, and nowhere else is necessary to go from the shelter of their lotus feet. And anywhere else is dangerous, and we are not to be tempted to look outside. The other man's grass is always greener, and we're going to get something from there. That is one sure way to rattle Gurudev, and Gurudev can get rattled for sure. Narayani Devi Dasi, welcome. And somebody else joined us just now. Who joined just now? Oh, Ramananda. Ramananda trying to join. Krishna, Krishna. And Narayani Didi, I saw somebody who looked, I thought it was you. I mean, we're in Italy, but I saw someone who looked just like you, and very recently. And then, of course, I realized it wasn't you, but it could have been.
Jai Dandavat.
So, remembering you. Jai Narayani, Govinda, Govinda. Do you still live in the forest?
Yes, I do.
Okay, then.
Very blessed you're remembering me, though.
Well, by your living in the forest, I'm sure you're getting remembrance of the Lord at every step, because in nature, we got to say everything is a wonder. Everything is a wonder. Krishna, Krishna.
Getting blessings from you, Maharaj. Dandavat, Dandavat.
I'm not sure. Blessings are from upstairs, Narayani. You know where the blessings
now
are. But we can give our
now
good
I know what my
wishes.
job is in the forest here.
Hare Krishna.
I know one really nice thing is between all the different live streams, you can be listening to today pretty much at almost every hour, something from around the world from all the devotees, either on Instagram Live, Zoom, Facebook. So that's a beautiful, beautiful blessing, right?
It is a blessing. And really, we've emphasized this before. We can emphasize this repeatedly. This has been given by Gauranga, by the Lord himself. Nothing can be made without his sanction. And we can really see we've got everything from the Lord's side for our nourishment. We just have to use it all properly and carefully. Yes. And daily we are hearing Guru Maharaj. Daily we are hearing Gurudev. Or every other day we try to share in the temple the hearing of Guru Maharaj, hearing of Gurudev. And Srila Prabhupada also, and very happily hearing the talks. This was not possible. How else can you hear their voices, hear their intonation? And there are other things, not only their voices. When we hear the talks, even you can hear on some of the talks a steam train, which takes us back to our 1982 days in Navadvip, where they still had the steam train running up and down from Katwa, where Mahaprabhu took sannyas, Katwa to Bandel. There was a steam train going up and down there. But those of you who know that track, the steam train wasn't allowed to go to Calcutta because they seemed to think that the steam train would pollute the air of Calcutta. But once the air of Calcutta is polluted, I doubt whether a few steam trains will add much more significantly to it. But you can hear the steam trains. And this time of year, this is January. So one thing about Navadvip and Bengal area and our temple, you'll hear in January very often the loudspeakers playing Bollywood music, sorry to say. Why? Because, and this, you'll hear this too, if you hear the talks of Gurudev, Guru Maharaj, if you listen in January, very often you'll hear the sound of the loudspeakers. But actually, why? It's not for any religious thing. It is because it is the coldest month of the year. And so the Bengalis take the opportunity, and it's not the time in the rice fields, it's kind of, so agriculturally, they're having a break, and agriculture having a break, and it's cold. And so the people are a little free, and in the daytime, they go and they do what they call picnic. So you see everywhere coaches are going. So people going from here to there to have a picnic, here to there to have a picnic. They come to the Ganges to have a picnic. And picnic doesn't just mean, taking out some bread and cheese or something. They come and they bring the big loudspeakers, and they come and they bring their pagal pani. If you want to know what pagal pani is, literally in Bengali, it means pagal, crazy, pani, water. So I'll let you guess what is pagal pani. So they bring the pagal pani, they bring the loudspeakers, they make a big barbecue, and they have a good day. But in the summer, you can't do that, because even if they're not busy in the fields, then it's just so hot. So nobody's going to sit out, in the sun and have a barbecue and this, that, and the other in the middle of the day. So January is like the picnic season. And so this time of Mahaprabhu going, then we'll hear the loudspeakers. You can hear in the recordings of Guru Maharaj from this time of year, you'll hear the loudspeakers. And actually it's a jolly time, you can say, in general, the cold time for the Bengalis, because it's relief from the strong heat and humidity of the summer. And I remember the first day that it was cold one year, and I just remember writing to somebody, today I realized I'd been hot for the last 9 months, from April to November. I don't know how many months that is, but anyway, I've been continuously hot for so many months. And I forgot what it was like to be chilly, to be cool. And now we're in northern Italy in the winter. We are definitely cool. Hare Krishna. Govinda, Govinda. Any contribution from anybody? I talk too much. I don't want to talk all the time. I want to hear from the devotees, and it's Zoom. It's not a classroom.
Chinmoy Dev Prabhu, because he's running these videos and classes.
Maharaj, I'm always curious as to why Mahaprabhu took sannyas from Keshav Bharati. Wasn't he a Mayavad?
Well, yes, but the point was that from that quarter, from that section, then they had much prestige, much honor in the community. So Mahaprabhu took sannyas in order that the people will give him honor instead of will give him abuse. So the Tridanda sannyas, Guru Maharaj explains that he did take Tridanda sannyas, and this was shown by the breaking of his Eka Danda staff by Nityananda, and by the fact that Mahaprabhu first gave sannyas to
8 p.m. in the Mountain Time Zone.
Oh, Ramananda Prabhu, yes. Mahaprabhu, he actually first gave sannyas to Keshava Bharati by telling him the mantra, and then in a mystic way that mantra came back to him. So anyway, it was the whole sannyas lila was for the purpose of showing the world and showing the miscreants, if you like, that now I'm in this order of life, don't mess with me, kind of thing, because that was very much the tradition. And we saw still quite the tradition that they will give honor to sannyasis. And this is one reason why the Sampradaya became like very corrupted or whatever it is within a few generations, that people were misusing this natural society's respect for the sadhus, the spiritual persons. So people are dressing up as sannyasis just to beg some food, get some money, get some name and fame, but they're doing all nonsense. This came to take place as the generations passed by after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's Srila Saraswati Thakur who re-established, if you like, the dignity of the followers of Mahaprabhu. And it's Srila Saraswati Thakur who established the customary cloth and sannyas, Tridanda sannyas, etc., that is followed today. He's the standard maker for this present time, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But yes, and also Gurudev says that the external reason for him taking sannyas is the abuse that he was receiving from the mass of the students. But from the scriptures from long ago, it's predicted how to recognize avatar and avatari Mahaprabhu, that this avatar, he will come, and just as Buddha is described, just as Kalki is described, just as Ramachandra is described, then this avatar, he's coming in the form which is not blackish, which is gold, and that he will come and take the renounced order of life and distribute everywhere the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So it's also, written in black and white by those who know that this will take place. So, many functions come together, and Mahaprabhu, his inner reason may only be known ultimately to those who know him fully, such as Guru Maharaj and Gurudev. But externally, it is this Leela that is given. Hare Krishna. All right, so Kalachand Prabhu, you've been very quiet today. We don't have anybody from India with us. Sometimes we've got one or two directly from India devotees. Kalachand Prabhu, what's the news from Govinda Farm? How are the white turkey and what? Not white turkeys, white peacocks. How are the peacocks?
Well, unfortunately, Maharaj, now there's a bit of a civil war going on between the birds.
Civil war between the birds. Oh dear.
Turkeys are fighting peacocks. Peacocks are fighting other peacocks. It's a madhouse.
Kali Yuga.
What can we say? We're starting to separate the species now.
Oh dear.
Even I would be very disturbed by this, I know.
Jivana. Why will Jivana be specifically disturbed by you separating the species?
Oh, she's a huge bird lover, Maharaj. She wants all the birds happy. And she takes care of her birds so nicely.
Okay, well, I'm sure that the birds will be happier by you separating them. By the sounds of things, I expect Jeevana must be pleased too.
Everything's nice. The rice is growing up very nicely. It's looking very green. But it is very cold here also. Single digits now in the morning.
Single digits.
I know, we're suffering so much.
And the other day we were with Tomsk, and there it was warm. They say, oh, today is a very mild day. It was -13, 1-3. And they say, oh, it's feeling almost warm to us, because they've been in -30 and maybe more, I don't know, but they've been, and there's -13. And they say, oh, today is mild. Just see.
It'll be so cold, Maharaj. Freezing.
Hare Krishna. All right. Okay, so let us all try to keep some special remembrance of Mahaprabhu and Gauranga Mahaprabhu. It is our time. He is at the center of our good fortune, which is being distributed by Gauranga, by Gurus and the Vaishnavas. So let us continue happily. This is certainly the theme of today, of these days, and let us give all honor to this by our activities, not just by our, yes, Mahaprabhu is great, and then forget everything. Let's try to do as always. All right, we like to end with some Harinam Sankirtan, but we're not actually in a temple as such, and I don't see anybody there who's directly got mridanga and kartal. So instead we'll end with Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. And Jai Shri Rupanuga Guru Vaga Ki Jai. Jai Shri Gauranga Sundar Ki Jai. Shachi Mata Ki Jai. Jai Shri Vishnu Priya Devi, his wife Ki Jai. And Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat in Koladeep Nabadip Ki Jai. And Jai Shri Nabadip Dham Ki Jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, which we can say easily and take it for granted, but this given to us by Mahaprabhu. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Shri Mahamantra Ki Jai, and all the worldwide devotees gathered here today in the BBBC, all carefully looked after. We're all looked after by Praneshwari Devirasi Ki Jai, and to each of you one by one. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And Leelavati is cooking. Is that, you're cooking the evening offering, is it? Or the lunchtime offering? We can't hear you, but lunchtime it must be. It is.
Yes, lunch.
Lunch offering. Okay, dandavat to all the devotees there.
Jai
Nitai
Bhakti
Gaur
Maharaj
Premanandi.
Ki Jai.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari.
Haribo.
Dandavat.
Maharaj, thank you.
Krishna Krishna. I need to go, but you can be together. Oops, whoever needs to be together. Hare Krishna.